A face stared down from the ceiling. Not human. Not anymore. Its mouth opened. Me's voice came out. Pao, help me. Pao almost stepped forward. Me grabbed him. That is not me. The thing smiled. Then it dropped. Not all the way. It stopped 6 inches above Angie, hanging in the air like it had been caught by invisible wire. Crystal woke and screamed. The thing turned its head toward her. Yee Thao shouted. Pastor John shouted. Pao pulled Angie backward. Me grabbed Angie's face. Look at me. Me cried. Look at your mother. I can't. Yes, you can. It knows my name. Then say mine. Mom, my name. Angie gasped like the word was being dragged out of her throat. Me. Say your father's. Pao. I'm here, Pao said. Your brother. Scott. Scott sobbed. Angie, come home. Your baby sister. Angie's face twisted. The thing above her hissed. Me shook her. Say her name. Angie's eyes filled with tears. Crystal. Crystal cried harder in Auntie C's arms. Your name, Me said. Angie struggled. Her mouth opened and closed like the word was hooked inside her throat. The thing above her twisted its head. No name, it whispered. Me screamed. Your name. Pastor John shouted. Say it, Angie. Yee Thao cried out. Call your spirit back. Pao held her shoulders. You are Angie Vang, Scott yelled. You're my sister. Crystal, barely understanding, cried out. Angie, that small voice broke something. Angie's eyes cleared. I'm Angie Vang. The house screamed. Not the entity. The house. The walls screamed. The basement screamed. The pipes screamed. The dirt under the foundation screamed. The floor split open between the couch and the coffee table. Not wide, just enough for a breath of black air to rise. Inside that crack, something moved. Hands, dozens of hands, reaching upward. Pao lifted Angie off the floor. Pastor John stepped between the crack and the family, praying louder than his fear. Yee Thao threw spirit paper into the split. Me pulled Crystal close. Sai grabbed Scott. Koo shoved the front door open. Officer Miller, pale and shaking, held it wide and shouted, Go. Go now. Pao ran with Angie in his arms. Me ran with Crystal. Sai carried Scott. Mai and Koo followed. Pastor John backed toward the door, still praying. Yee Thao was last. At the threshold, he turned and spoke into the house. You were forgotten, he said. But you are not permitted to steal the living. From deep below the floor, Angie's voice whispered back. I'm still under here. Everyone froze. Pao looked down at the real Angie in his arms. She was unconscious, breathing, alive. Officer Miller heard the voice too. His radio captured it. That was the recording he would never delete. They did not sleep in the house again. Not one night. Officer Miller drove them to a motel off the highway. Pastor John stayed with them until sunrise. Yee Thao sat in a chair near the door and did not close his eyes. Sai and Koo took turns standing outside the motel room like they could guard the family from something that did not need doors. At 6:15 a.m., Angie woke. Me was beside her. Pao stood at the window. Scott slept curled in a chair. Crystal slept beside Auntie C, one tiny hand still holding her rabbit. Angie looked around the motel room and began to cry. Did I hurt anybody? She asked. Me stroked her hair. No. I saw them. Pao turned from the window. Who? The people under the house. Most of them were just sad. They wanted someone to know they were there. Me asked quietly, and the woman, Angie, shook her head. She wasn't buried there. Pao looked confused. What do you mean? She found them. Used them. Like hiding in a crowd. Yee Thao, still seated near the door, said, A thing with no name will wear the grief of others. Pastor John looked at him. Then what was she? Yee Thao did not answer for a long time. Then he said, something that learned hunger from the dead. Pao put the house up for sale 3 days later. He did not disclose ghosts. Not because he wanted someone else to suffer. Because no form had a box for what lived under Hollow Creek Road. He wrote, Motivated seller. He wrote as is. He wrote, quick clothes preferred. Sai offered again to take them back to California. Mai said they could stay with her. Ku offered to put everything in storage. But Mi called her relatives in Minnesota, and Auntie C said, come here. Start over where there is family. So that became the plan. They took almost nothing from the house. A few clothes, documents, family photos. Mi refused to take any furniture. Pao argued once. Only once. Anything that slept in that house stays in that house, Mi said. So they left the beds, the couch, the kitchen table, the dishes, Scott's toys,